Okay, good afternoon, folks. I hope everyone is well. Hope everyone had a good day yesterday. Nice day for me, $250. Nice start to these PAs, so all good there. So, no real news today, nothing that's going to affect us. I've been looking at the chart actually over the last sort of a latter part of yesterday. We sort of opened here, came down, pushed back up. We're sort of going sideways, really. Now, if I was going to draw a range with today's, it would actually fit quite nice, really. A couple of touches there, 1, 2 touches there. It would fit quite nice. So it does look like we're just in a bit of a range at the moment. So I came in here about here. I did consider taking that one. My only slight issue is we got a leg down. We may have a few sort of downs and ups before we come down and retest. So I stayed out of that, but it did work. But you just don't know whether we're going to end up having something like this, a leg down and a leg down, you know what I mean? It hasn't quite been as low as this, but, you know, every time we come from the top, we touch down here, we come up here, we touch down here, we came to the middle, we touch down here. So basically, every time we go up, we're touching. So there was a strong possibility that that just might come back up to the EMA and then come down and touch this area. So that was why I left that one alone. There wasn't enough room to the EMA, even if I wanted to just retrace it up to the EMA and take that. So I left that alone, but it did work. Doesn't necessarily mean it was a good place to go long. We're just a bit too far from these bottoms where it's bounced a couple of times there. You can see it there and close enough there and there as well. So same with the top. Fits okay both days. So I know the Penguin guy is looking at the previous day or a day or two back. He's taking it. Matt never ever mentions it really, but it definitely plays a part. I know the other day I had a channel drawn and it fit perfectly over the last couple of days. You just can't ignore that. So I think it's useful just to be aware of that there is a chance it's going to be a range day, or at least starting off as a range day. We've gone up, couple of legs up, couple of legs down, so it's above it and below the EMA, so I think it's as good as a range day at the moment, but there you go. So market opens in just under a minute and a half. Robin, how you doing? He's been out sick. Yeah, I had an email yesterday saying he hasn't been well. I also saw one of his videos and he said that he was going to start to pick bigger moves. Hello to you, mate. How you doing? I got your email this morning. Well, this morning UK it was. Well, this afternoon UK, I think. Yeah, he did say something that he was just looking into it. He didn't want to mention it too much at the moment, but he was looking into going for bigger moves. I think he said 1 to 2. Because I think the majority of his trades are 1 to 1, but on occasion. So that'll be interesting. I think he's just sort of more trialing it at the moment, but that'll be interesting to see what he comes up with there. But it's always interesting to, you know, to see somebody adapting Pats and doing well out of it. And he's clearly done well out of it. There's no arguing there. So there you go. So quite likely starting off as a range. Whether it will continue or not, I don't know. So market is due to open now. Okay. Let's see how we get on today. So yeah, I did consider that one. But at the moment, prices, you just don't know whether they're going to come down and tick this level. But it would have worked. But there you go. Not only that, I think as that trade was looking, we still had a bit to go. On the NQ. The NQ hadn't quite hit the EMA yet, and that may turn down, so we just don't know yet, do we? But there we go. I would put the NQ on another chart down here and flick from one to the other, but I do like to see it in my eye line. So I've got it above my head. So, clear channel up there. Let's see what's going to happen today anyway. So let's get rid of that. So, good start yesterday. If I could do that every day, I'd be over the moon. Or even close to that. 200 a day, I'd be a happy bunny. Okay, so little channel. Quite likely a little break. You can see how it jumps over there, can't you? I don't know whether it's been designed like that, but it's fitting there perfectly, and then we come out. So we did have a little hiccup, if anybody noticed, yesterday in the crypto space. We're waiting for the spot ETF, the Bitcoin spot ETF. ETFs to be okayed by the SEC, and apparently it appeared on their website that they were now clear, and the market spiked up. I think Bitcoin spiked up $2,000 for then the SEC to come out and say there'd been an error, or it had been hacked, or some analyst had, or somebody, some junior member had made a mistake. Don't quite know, but then the market dropped. So it does seem like Gary Gensler's going to be in for a roasting over that to find out exactly what happened. But I mean, that can cost people a lot of money. You know, you jump into that and think, yeah, it's great, we've been released, I'll invest some more money into Bitcoin. All of a sudden it drops. I think it dropped about 7% or 8%, something like that in well, pretty quickly, put it that way. Yeah, so it fits perfectly there, doesn't it? Apparently a decision will be made today. Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I've not got any Bitcoin, but obviously if you follow the rest of the altcoins, obviously you need to follow Bitcoin because they generally follow it. I've got bits of others, but I believe the bits of others, they are seeing a bit of red at the moment. Bitcoin seems to be holding around about the sort of 45, 46 mark. It doesn't come down a lot, to be honest with you, obviously with this pending decision coming out. But, you know, I'm assuming money's coming out of the altcoins and flowing into Bitcoin. I think it generally works like that anyway. And then obviously when Bitcoin sort of gets new highs, I think money comes out and then goes more into the alts. But it's just interesting to see these things unravel how they work. Don't you? I mean, you wouldn't think they'd be able to make a mistake that. Why you didn't just release a press release or something like that, or a press conference, rather than just popping up on the website. Obviously, as we know, websites can be hacked, and obviously something's gone wrong. Exactly what, I don't know, but somebody's in for a roasting. I'm pretty sure about it. Someone's not going to be happy with that, who's put money in Bitcoin and it's just dumped. Okay, so we got a channel up. Let's have a look. See if we can get a couple of legs. It'll have to be 2 legs. I'm not interested in getting in on an half-soaked trade here, because we obviously came up to this level before and came down. Having said that, we did hit the bottom a bit there, so there is a sort of a second entry long. That's just way too far from the EMA for my liking. Regardless of whether it works, it may work, but it's just too rich for my blood, that. I want a couple of legs. I wouldn't be surprised if that got stopped out. It may work, but that just looks like danger written all over to me. But there you go. It may be a little bit of congestion there. Let's have a look. It might work because it's looking like it could push up on the NQ. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's a bit sideways. It is technically a second entry by the count, but it doesn't look like legs at all, does it? But obviously it clearly worked. It's way too far from the EMA. It could trigger you and have a leg and another leg. So it's just too risky for me, that. If I was on the valuation, I may take a risk there, but excuse me, not the PA. Next majority resistance on Bitcoin chart is around 60 and approval could push it. Yes, I believe. So I keep hearing, yeah, I follow, who's the guy I follow? The guy in Dubai. I forget his name now. I do follow a lot of his trades, actually, and he's very accurate. What's his name? I'll show you. He's very good. Even if you don't do crypto, just follow his trades and just earmark them and see how they do. It's surprising how accurate he is, really. Where is he? He puts a video out every day. He lives in Dubai now. I think he's originally from, I think he's got a New Zealand accent, I think. Okay, possible lower high there. The only thing that's put me off that is the NQ maybe having two legs and another put a leg up. So that looks to me like it's more likely going to go long. We're not up at this level. So if the NQ does push up long, I expect this to follow it. Let me just find this guy. If you ever do decide to sort of have a little dabble at Bitcoin, he doesn't generally buy and hold, I don't think. Or he probably does a bit, but he mainly just trades. Where is he? That's unusual. And he's not coming up at the moment. Couldn't pass up on that second entry long for a few ticks. Yeah, if I was on an evaluation, I'd have probably taken that. My only slight concern is it's a bit too far from the east. You don't know whether we're going to leg, it's going to trigger, and we're going to have another leg and then push up. So it's a little bit more risky, that one. But obviously, it depends on your risk tolerance, doesn't it? Some people have got no problem with taking them. You know, I get everyone's different. Yeah, see, that to me looks like it's going to stop both those out. Based on what I'm seeing on the NQ at the moment, the NQ is looking more bullish. Now, it may turn. But from what I've seen, this tends to follow the NQ. The NQ will tend to move first, and then this tends to follow it. Whether this sort of in line a bit better, but yeah, those are going to get stopped out, I think. And it is congested anyway, so it's just too dangerous to take a trade there. It could do either or, really. It may stop that out. It may come dropping from this. But for me personally, it's sideways and it's right at the top. I'll be more inclined to go short than long. But the NQ just looks slightly, although we are getting a bit of a pullback. I'll be amazed if that doesn't get taken out. It's going to, for sure, I think. It's bound to. It's only a tick above there. I'll be amazed if it, yeah, there we go. So we did take that one. Trouble is, it's clearly congested, so it's risky anyway. But we are, you know, we are sort of finding a level here, aren't we? Same as we are on the bottom over the last couple of days. So, so in all fairness, you don't really want to go long there either. Yeah, see, just going to get rid of that a minute. I mean, it's only hit this level once, but you can see how it's reacting to that level. We've pushed up through it and we've bounced off it, so we could come back in there. It could just be a bit of a failed breakout in the way that's looking. That's looking like a tempting trade, that is. I'd rather take a lower high, though. I mean, we have had a break, a new high. You'd expect... well, let's rephrase that. You wouldn't expect that to come back in because we've only been up here once, so it's a bit hard to say at the moment. But it's just risky, especially what's happened there. If we do get a lower high, then that might be a better option.
Order submitted.
Let's see how this unfolds.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, it's still a bit congested. It's you know, respecting the top of this line, so it's hard to say really. Let's have a look. NQ seems to be pushing back up. Yeah, that's my concern. We're going short here. The NQ does look, see, if I just bring this in, if you're not looking at the NQ, we've pushed up, we've had a break, and we've made 2 attempts to go lower. I'd expect that to go up at least to these levels. So I think this is, I mean, it might not. It's also a little bit sideways, but I think for me personally, it's more on the lines of bullish. And if it is bullish, the last thing I want to do is go short here, because if it does rocket up, this is likely going to follow it. Which makes that one risky. There wasn't a lower high anyway. In fact, I haven't reloaded my historic. But that's surely going to get taken out. We'll see. It might not. It might hold. But tick above, tick below is over a 3-point risk. That so. And look what's happening. It's holding on top of this, so it's respecting this. So. There's no trade there anyway. There's no second entry. It's just clearly sideways. Yeah, so if you'd taken that now, you'd be pretty concerned. Yeah, there's no way that wasn't going to get stopped out, really. Now, ordinarily, in a range, a trade like that wouldn't be a bad option to take back to the EMA, but are we in a range? We seem to be going up and down at the moment, but we've only really been up here once. You know, I would expect it to hit this level and turn down probably 3 times before I start thinking range, because we've sort of opened, we've had a couple of legs up, couple of legs down, and this might now be a bigger move. It's hard to say, really. We're certainly broken these highs. We've broken yesterday's high, so we could have a leg sideways and another leg. So that's a possibility. You know, we often see that. So we could be getting up to this sort of area. But we're in a bit of a range on the NQ. So same again. It's hard to say. Let's just bring this one in again. We're clearly going sideways here. So are we going to go up or down? Your guess is as good as mine. Leg, sideways. I mean, often we see that leg. It's like a bull flag up, sideways, and then up again. 2 legs up would get us up to this sort of area. So, and that short has just triggered. Maybe a lower high. People think we're coming down. So, I'm keeping an eye on that. This does look like it might be moving into a new channel, though. Yeah, so it's possible. Are we coming down on the NQ now? We'll see. See, sometimes when we do have a break out of a range, if traders are looking at this in a range, sometimes the first one doesn't work, but the second one does. So this is interesting. Nice, but in my opinion, way too far from the EMA. It hasn't worked anyway. Maybe a spike in channel. It does look like it, doesn't it? But the trouble is, that's held. We need to obviously see how this one works. So let me just dip that a touch. The NQ looks like it might be. It may be coming down. Yeah, I think the NQ is coming down, I think. So I'm going to remove that just for a minute. So if you're not looking at the NQ, this is it. And we've pushed up sideways. Whether we're going to break out the bottom, push out. Well, they say most breakouts fail, so maybe it's going to. Maybe there's a leg and a leg. But you just never quite know. But if this goes up, I expect the ES to as well. And vice versa, so. The NQ looks weak at the moment. It's struggling to get up, is the NQ. I can't see it going up. Let me have a look. Okay. I'm not even considering taking that. I think it's likely that's going to get stopped out. That's my personal opinion, so don't let it affect your trading because it may rocket up. It's only really if we've got a channel down here anyway, so it's clearly congested anyway, so it does look okay, but it's has it really confirmed it? Not necessarily. Not enough for me to think about going along and making a new high. So at the moment, I'm just staying out. It's a bit sideways. It's congested, clearly. So whatever you're going to do, it just makes it a little bit more dangerous. Could go up, could go down. I mean, at the moment on the NQ, we're struggling to get up. Now, it may just rocket straight up, who knows, but it may. We're testing the underside of this, so it may do it for a while and then just drop. But my concern, that it comes down, could push straight back in, but it's tried a few times now and it's struggling. So that puts me off going long at the moment. So I'm just, and obviously I'm on this chart, it's clearly a bit sideways, so another reason for me personally to stay out of it. So it would have to push through that, so you wouldn't have got a point anyway, and that looks like it's going to take that stop out. Yeah, so it's just got danger written all over that, and we're in this channel anyway, so we've had a break, so hence I stay out of there. You may have got 3/4 of a tick if you're lucky, but it's just, it's got danger written all over that as for me. So leg and a leg. Okay, so we did what I thought we may do on the NQ. you could see we're clearly struggling to get up, and in the end it just, well, it gave up the goat and down it came quickly. So it is useful to see this. I could clearly see that was struggling to get up. So it is, you know, if you don't use the NQ, I'm not saying to use it, but not necessarily as something to trade. It's helping me make better decisions on this. Now, I started using Bookmap maybe 7 or 8 months ago, and I had it on my chart for a while. And in all fairness, I probably didn't get to understand it as well as I should. But things like the NQ and the ES, you know, from what I've learned, I'm no expert trader. You know, I'm just a retail trader like you guys. I've had to learn myself. You know, I haven't had the luxury of working in a bank or any type of investment business. So I've just had to learn on the job. But they do tend to follow each other, and I have noticed personally, my take on is the NQ tends to move first and the ES follow. Now, whether that's exactly true or not, I don't know, but that's the impression I get. When I see the NQ tend to move, I seem to see this almost follows it quickly. So if I'm looking to go long here, excuse me, but the NQ is looking bearish, I'll leave that trade alone. Now, obviously, the other signals it's clearly congested anyway, but it does seem to be holding, and we've had a push out, so you don't know whether it is going to push up. But so there's a bit mixed signals here. You know, it's looking like it wants to try, but the NQ is looking like it's more bearish. So I leave that alone, and by leaving that alone, there's no setup there anyway, but there could have been a second entry, but I left it alone, and I was right, and rightly so. It was a good decision to let it go. So I kind of like the fact that I've got something else to look at. You know, excuse me a second. Yeah, it's helping me make better decisions. So we've got a leg down. Possible second entry short. Way too far from the EMA. Looks to me, after having 2 legs down, this may revisit the EMA. So for me, this is looking at the moment slightly bullish, although we're having a bit of a pullback. This is looking like it's got more chance of hitting that EMA than going the other direction. So I'm not thinking about going short there, although there is a second entry short, but it is too far from the EMA. Now, it does look like there's a good chance we are ranging, and we're going to pull back into a range, and I probably do well to put that up there, because it does look at the moment like we're having a bit of a range day. So that's triggered now, that second entry short. Now, it might work, but my concern is it's a bit too far from the EMA. And not only that, it is a bit congested, which makes it a little bit more risky. Not impossible, but riskier. Yeah, it's clearly going sideways at the moment. So if you did take that one, you're up about a couple of ticks at the most. It may come down, but my concern is there's quite a bit of distance. Quite a bit of distance to the EMA. So okay, so yeah, you'd have got a 1.25 at a squeeze there, but we've rejected and come straight back in. So you don't know whether it's got. There's certainly a bit of vacant area up. Oh, sorry, I get a bit finicky about getting it bang on. There we go. The bottom's not right now. That's going to fry my brain. There we go. So it may come down, or it might push back up. Who knows? But there is that sort of there's a bit of open space here which it could quite easily fill. So I'd like to see that drop below there and then push up. Looks like a bit of a trap, that does. Maybe some traders thinking, okay, down we go, let's jump in. and that's going to push up, take out that stop, and anything else possible. This is just me just chit-chatting, but they look like weak positions to me. That does. It's not close enough to the EMA. It's just come down and it's gone a bit sideways. So okay, let's see how high this goes. See if it breaks there. Yeah, see, let's just see it break that first. So if you did take a trade there, any more on the point, you'd have been shafted. Point and a quarter, you'd have got at a squeeze. Granted, it's not finished yet. Touch. There is a possibility of a bigger channel there, in which case we could get up to this level here. Let's see. I'll be really surprised if it doesn't take that. That's a weak position for me personally. I'll be surprised if it doesn't hit that stop. And quite quickly. Oh, is it? I think you're still safe at the minute. No, interesting. So, leg down. We'll attempt to go a second. You may look at that as a triple test. I love the way it sits below. If I ever want to take a short, that's exactly where I like the bar to be. The top of the bar to be. Let's see if that stop holds. I'll be surprised if it does. There we go. So what would you have got from that? I think you'd have got a point and a quarter. Yes, I don't think you would have done. It's got to tick through. You'd have got a point. It's got to tick through, isn't it? Let's see what it does here. If it holds here and gives us a lower high, because the NQ is, well, I got mixed feelings about the NQ at the moment. It's bouncing in roughly the same place at the bottom. So it could push up, or we could have a leg down and a couple of attempts to go higher and then some more down. So there is a possibility. Well, it does look like a couple of legs up, so I would tend to wait for the lower high. So there is a possibility. I love the way that's closed, right where it should do if it's going to fit in this channel. So I would be interested in the lower high. Wasn't technically a second entry, but it's only a first entry, so it does make it more risky. It is looking good so far. So it's sitting perfect there, isn't it? So maybe we are going down a bit more. Yeah, you can't even really say that's a hidden second entry, because really, it's sort of, well, pretty perfect little small channel, isn't it? So it's a pretty small risk. Depends whether you want to take it, really, doesn't it? Okay, touch. That to me looks like it fits in that channel. Wow, look at that. There was no setup, unfortunately. That was within that little channel. Just makes it too dangerous, in my opinion, anyway. You might look upon that and think it's worth the risk. Switching 2000 tick to a 5-minute, I found 5-minute much better. Yeah, I do talk to lots of people who have a multitude of different charts. But what I will say is, I've heard Max say it doesn't matter what time frame you trade, price action works the same. So I did for a time, if you remember, maybe going back, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, have a 1,000 tick chart above my head. Now, I don't know if you remember this. It was about 2 years ago. We started getting a lot of volatility, and the bars were really big. And I remember Max saying, you know, you can change the 3,000 or 4,000 tick chart. And I think I remember, I don't know whether it was the 3,000 or 4,000 I switched over to for a few months. I don't know if anyone remembers that. But we got a lot of volatility, and obviously the more volatility, the bigger bars. I mean, if the ATR at the moment is 1.91, you go down to a 1,500 tick chart, that'd drop. So it kind of reduces the risk and the bar size a little bit. So yeah, people, best broker with no minimum deposit. Can't help you there, bud. My broker's through Apex. I did for a while use the broker that comes with it was, what was it called? It was about 2.5 years ago. I think it was Philip Capital, which partnered through Ninja Trader. And minimum deposit was $50, trading one, I think it was 10-1, trading one micro. So you can trade one micro, or $500 per trading one mini contract. They do have their own now. I don't know what it is. But the only trouble is, if you do use that, you need the Ninja Trader full license. And I bought mine a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago. It cost me $1,000, I think. But if you've got one, I believe they've got their own now, or they're partnered with somebody. I don't quite know what relationship they have with them, but but yeah, $50 per micro, $500 per mini. And I think obviously if you've got a lifetime license, I think it's about £3 is it $3.98 or something per round trip per contract. There's no charge for the platform. The commissions are higher unless you... Yeah, that's it, yeah. I wish I'd have done that, to be fair. I mean, I thought when I started this, I thought within a few months I'll be trading my own account. It just goes to show how wrong you are. Trading looks a lot easier than it is. I think I'd only been trading a month, and I remember giving up my job. Thinking I was going to be rich. How wrong was I? I told my wife within 12 months I'll be earning $20,000 a month. never quite happened. But yeah, I mean, the commissions are a bit higher if you haven't got it. But, you know, I mean, if you're a trader and you're making money, it makes sense to, you know, to probably have the lifetime license. It depends if you take one trade a day or you're taking 20 trades a day. Obviously, that affects, you know, the pricing. So, yeah, unfortunately, no second entry, and that was just within that little channel. Now, you may say, okay, well, let's touch on this a few times, so it might be worth the risk, and for some people, maybe it is. I don't think it's a massive risk. ATR is quite well, actually. Look at that. That's maybe, yeah, it's a 1.5 risk, so that might have been worth a risk. Now, I've only just started these PA accounts again, so my risk tolerance isn't that great at the moment. So for me, clearly see there's a little micro trend there. For me, it's a bit of a no-no, but they said Ninja is now the second largest broker. Really? Wow. I didn't think Ninja Trader was that widely used. Perhaps it is. Well, I suppose it depends what you trade. Maybe for futures, yeah. I mean, if you know, I believe, or I used to use when I first started trading currency, MetaTrader 4, I think it's 5 now. And I think that was quite widely used. But yeah, from a retail trader's point of view, yeah, perhaps it is. I mean, it's a great, for me, after trading on MetaTrader 4, trouble is with MetaTrader 4, what you'll find is most currency traders will use TradingView to plot their charts and work out where they're putting their trades, and then MetaTrader 4 for executing the trades. That, for me, is a bit long-winded. You're using 2 different types of software just to make a decision. And I love this, going from trading currency to looking at 4 different screens, so looking at maybe half a dozen different currency pairs, half a dozen different time frames. You know, other bits of software I had to work out trends. It was a headache. I found you spent most of your time searching just for something to trade, just for a currency pair to trade. And then when I moved on to this, one chart, one time frame, that's it. It was, I mean, this was a breath of fresh air after trading currency. I found currency a headache. It was a full day with currency. You know, I never trade really more than about 3.5 hours. On the rare occasion, maybe 4 hours. But what did I do? Hour and 45 minutes yesterday. I mean, scalping's a bit fast moving, and it can be a little bit stressful at times. So sometimes you just want to get in and get out and get home. But yeah, for futures, yeah, perhaps it is. But you know, I think if a lot of currency traders or some retail currency traders saw this being traded, I think they'd be seriously interested in you know, coming on board. And I consider myself as a sort of newer retail trader, got lucky when I found Mac, because you know, you look around the internet and you can pay quite a few thousand dollars for courses. There's another YouTuber. She's from the UK. Mindfully Trading, I think. Now, I know I had a bit of a sort of internet chat with her a while back, and I think she said she paid about $2.5, nearly $3,000 to join Warrior Trader to learn his system, and she thought it was just a bit of a, well, you know, I don't want to run anyone down, but she didn't feel like she got value for money. So you can pay a lot of money, but I mean, Mac only charges $125 for a year. Now, that tells me straight away he's not doing it because he wants to make a lot of money out of people. And he has said, this is tempting. I'm tempted to take a lower high here. Wow, that's tempting. It is a second entry short. Oh, I'm so tempted to take that.
Order
I
submitted.
think I probably should. Let me have a think about this. No, I'm going to sit tight
Order
here. Another
cancelled.
reason that makes it look attractive is we've got a hidden second entry on here. And I like the fact that we've made a few attempts to go higher, but we do seem to be finding maybe the bottom of a range here, so I'm a little bit hesitant to take that. So I'm going to let that one slide. It may work, but I think the safer bet would be to wait for the low high. So, but no, I mean, he charges $125 for a year, and he has said in a video, you know, when because he's a Christian guy, he's a bit of a church goer, you know, and he believes in if he gets something out of something, he puts it back. And he did say that, you know, if he made money in trading, that he would want to give something back and charge in such a small amount. So you can't argue with that. So I consider myself lucky to find Mac. And in all fairness, I got to thank those two other guys. They called Riley Coleman and Michael Chin. I got to thank them because they were the one that sort of led me to Mac. So yeah, I got lucky. You could pay a lot of money learning courses and learning to trade. Yeah, so good decision to leave that alone. I mean, it's tempting, it's touching in all the right places, and it is actually a second entry. There's two clear legs. In fact, I'll be surprised if a few traders don't get caught out there, because 1, 2, 3, and it's fitting really nice on the bottom side. Yeah, I'll be surprised if a few don't get caught out there. It'd be interesting to see at the Facebook group later, but if you look, there's two really nice little legs, actually. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's two nice legs. I mean, you could even say there's a clear little micro channel, but the reason I left that, part of the reason I left that was because of the NQ. Looked a little bit dicey, but you can clearly see there's a little channel there. And we've got to break our new high. It pushed up and then came down pretty quick. So I'll be surprised if a few traders don't get caught out there. 6 months ago, I'd have probably taken that myself. But sometimes I'll tend to leave them and see how they'll work. But I think in that case, EMA's a bit flat. It did finish up there, but it did look nice on the NQ. Leg, break leg, hidden second entry short, and that looked like quite nice. But if you look here, it's finding some support there, a bit of support there, isn't it? So it may push up. So I think the sensible one was to just let that slide and then maybe say, okay, if we push down and make a lower high, then we'll take that. I think you just get wise after a while, don't you? When you sort of first start, you jump in at everything, really. It's probably the best way to do it. You get way more value from a losing trade than you do a winning trade. But that did look like a little channel with a break and a new high, so sometimes you're better off just leave them alone. But you've still got an option for a trade there. Just wait for a lower high. If we get a lower high, then the chance of that coming down then is a lot higher. But looking on the daily, I'm just wondering now whether we're going to get another push up, because we've had this push back in a bounce. This could be a leg and a leg. We could have a leg, a little bit of sideways and a leg, as we often do. So we may get another push up now back to these highs. So I just have a feeling that a lot of times we'll push up, go a little bit sideways and then up again. So we may push up, which might mean there's some more upward stuff. But they stole his stuff. Yeah, they did. In fact, I think they were charging... See, I didn't know that at the time. They were charging about $350. And I was about to pay it. And I remember doing a search. I can't remember. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't buy a £50 toaster without Googling it and finding out how good it is. I like to know what I'm buying. So I just did a Google search, and it came up that they'd stole Mac's idea. And then when when I went to Max, I think at the time he was only charging $100. So I got really lucky there. But you won't go wrong with Mac. In all fairness, I am yet to see a trade that I can't work out why it didn't go wrong. Very, very few. I mean, a very small percentage. I mean, I'm talking maybe 1 or 2% that I can't figure out why. There's always a reason, and the price action it's so accurate and so true. I mean, you might have said, why didn't that work? Or one, it's riskier because it's above the EMA. The EMA is a bit flat. You know, there's always a reason for it. I've never seen what I consider a really perfect setup fail. I've never seen it happen. I genuinely mean that. There was times, obviously, trading when I first started, that I couldn't work it out, and I would always, if something I couldn't work out, I would post it on the Facebook page and say, why didn't it work? But now I can almost always tell. So you might say, well, what is set to trade? But obviously, fast moving stuff, quick decisions, and it's very easy to misjudge something. But sometimes when you've got a minute or two to look at it, you can work it out. But I'm yet to see what I will consider. And when I do see an absolute beauty, I can't click the button quick enough, and they just do not fail, and I really mean that. So I struck gold, I believe. Now, obviously, there's loads of other aspects to trading. As you know, the psychological side's by far the most written about and the most discussed. And as you know, I've struggled just the same as the rest of you. You know, my trading skill level now is enough to make money and enough to build account. But unfortunately, I've struggled with the psychological side, which I've continued to work at, and I do believe that decent week and a half, 10 days, whatever, break at Christmas, and I stayed away from the charts and I just did some psychological stuff. I think that might help take me to maybe hopefully the next run on the ladder. So, little channel break. Are we going to push up? In fact, I'm going to get rid of that channel on the NQ because I don't think it's valid. For me, that NQ looks more like a range at the moment. You may say there, in fact, that's probably about right. In fact, let's take it up to there. I think it looks probably a little bit better, maybe more. Somewhere around about there. Let's leave it there. So we got a leg with a break. So I think it's more likely to go up maybe to this level or maybe to the top. So it's not looking like a downtrend, that to me now. That is, but that's okay. But if we can get a second entry long, maybe a higher low, then that may interest me to go long. There is a channel with a break, and there is on the NQ as well. Having said that, we have had 3 clear touches, and it visually looks right. We've touched perfectly in a few places, so there is a chance it could come down and make a new low. Jason, we need a fail second entry long, back to the bottom of the range. Yeah. See, I got mixed feelings here because the NQ to me, it may push up, and if the NQ pushes up, the ES tends to follow it. So, and it's a little bit unclear, isn't it? It does seem to be ranging, but as we've pushed up here, you would probably expect it to come down here. So it may push up a bit. I'm hoping we have something like a penguin style trade where we have a leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, and then a failure and a drop. But yeah, I'd like to see it come down here, but it's already come down here on the NQ. So I think the NQ is looking like it's going to go up. So we'll see anyway. If you zoom out, there is an uptrend starting from yesterday. You on about here or something, are you? Yeah, see, that's more sideways to me at the moment, but it's hard to say. Let me have a look. Let's put it from there to there. I'm assuming you're on about something like that, are you? Oh no, I can't say that. You're on about here. It's possible, but it just looks a bit messy to me. And sometimes when it's very shallow, at a shallow angle, they're a bit unreliable. So no, I don't know. It doesn't jump out at me with excitement. Put it that way. I think at the moment, with the latter part of the day, we're clearly just going up and down. That doesn't mean we're going to continue to do that. That's about it. Just, yeah, it's a bit... Sometimes if I've got mixed feelings, I try to sort of forget the bigger picture and just look at the price action. So looking at the NQ, we've had this channel up there and a break. Now, I think there's a good chance it'll go up to this level. It's come down here and past here. So we've got a nice channel. If we can get a second entry along there, I'd say that's going up. So that, to me, is looking probably more on the bullish side. So, and this, I would have liked to come down here, in all fairness. And I don't like the fact that that's done that. Now, what I will say is, just because it's a downtrend doesn't mean it has to make a new low in a range. But I agree with that comment when we've hit the bottom, but we haven't there, so that could still come down. Now, if this channel had hit the bottom here, then sometimes it'll just turn and push up, and it doesn't need necessarily a new low. But a channel that looked kind of that nice, yeah, I would probably expect it to come down. But another thing I'll say, if you look here, we are making higher lows. And the same here a little bit, so maybe it is going to push up. Possibly a second entry long. I'm not taking it in case I get trapped. I'm waiting for a higher low. And if we get a higher low, then I would probably expect a leg and a leg. And that will get us up to this sort of level. So I'm just being a bit cautious here. I've been trapped in these before. It is a leg and a leg. But I mean, that looks nice to me. We touched 3 times there, perfectly there, perfectly there, perfectly there. It just looks too good of a channel, really, to ignore the fact that it may come down. So I'm just going to sit tight on this, I think. See, all I'm thinking about is one trade a day. That's all I really need. And if I can get one trade a day and wait for a good winner, I can make all the money I need to. Okay, so in fact, you could say that there's a bit of a channel and we've had a break. So that's played out. A little channel break. New high. So could be coming down here. The thing is, at the moment, the NQ, there is a possible second entry long. Now this may come down, but if this looks bullish, I won't be thinking about going short. I like to see them both. Okay, so there is a second entry long there. I'd like to, if that triggers and comes down, then there's the trap, and I like to let myself get chance or leave to see if it traps before I think about going long, and then catch it further on a higher low. So second entry long. Now, I'm not taking it, as I said. I like to give the failed second entry long chance to come down and stop it out first. And if that's the case, then short might be the option. But there's a but. It's also congested, so that makes it risky. And it could end up being double traps there. Now, it's looking tempted, but it may come down, stop out that one, then turn and push up. At the moment, on the NQ, price is holding, being held by the... So it does look like it could push up quickly, that. So it's just making me, move forward with caution. I'd say it's erring on the side of bullish on the NQ. So I think I'm just going to sit tight here. EMA's flat as a pancake. We're clearly in the range. So you just don't know. It could go up, it could go down. I'd certainly say the NQ is looking more on the side of bullish. So what I'm looking for now is a higher low to take us up to that second leg. So that's what I mean. Sometimes you get that, and you can't deny it's a nice looking channel. We get a break. I mean, normally something like that you would think leg down, break the new lows. But no. So same again, the NQ is helping me make better decisions and see the picture a bit clearer. There isn't really a downtrend on the NQ that looks good at all. This does. So this tells me that there's a chance we're going to go lower, but the NQ tells me it's looking more bullish. And then if you'd have taken that, I wouldn't have done, because one, it's below the EMA, EMA's flat, and it's clearly ranging a little bit, so I would have stayed out of that. Just in case it does trigger you and then come down. So it looks like we're getting a leg and a leg. So I'd like to see a retest of this, but it does look like it's just going to push it up. There is some support there. Clearly see it running through the middle there. You can see it there, you can see it there. So not that it's made a damn bit of difference. It's just pushed straight through it. Fortunately, I don't think there'll be a lot of shorts there. There was nowhere that looked attractive to go short there. You don't know whether someone may have taken that or not. But that's what I mean. See, after this, you would expect it to come down. Usually it does, but it's a little bit, it's clearly sideways, but it's not working. Sometimes these ranges work beautifully. They touch in the same place. Other times, every time there's a top, there's and a bottom, it's at a different level. Does the ES tend to copy the NQ? That's my understanding. That's what I've found. And I've been watching the NQ now for a month or so. And whenever I see the NQ go up, now whether they follow each other or whether they work in tandem, I don't know. But what I like is this was saying bearish and the NQ was saying bullish. So I've got conflicting information there. So that's telling me just sit tight, stay out. And I'm glad I did, really, because I could have got into a trade here. Now, granted, there wasn't really anything, but the trouble is, if you think it's going to come lower, sometimes you may take a bit of risk and think, oh, I'll go here, leg, it's coming down, it's going to break these lows, but so I like the fact that if you're looking at the two, and I've got them both on the 2000 tick chart, if they're both showing you bullish or they're both showing you bearish, it helps me make better decisions. If they're showing completely opposites, it helps me make better decisions by staying out of it. So, if I didn't have the NQ, I would be looking here for a short. And how wrong was I, see? So because the NQ was looking like that, it helps me make better decisions. So I find it more useful than Bookmap, I gotta say. It'll keep me out of trades and give me the confidence to take trades. But yeah, I don't know exactly whether they fit in tandem, but I tend to, if I see the NQ tend to start pushing up. Now, we all know the NQ moves a lot quicker than the ES, and it's a lot more visual. If this moves up slow, it's not blatantly obvious, but if the NQ will start to go really quick, and then if I look at this, the ES, then that tends to follow it. So I think it's good. For me personally, my point of view, I like having both because, not necessarily to trade the NQ, but it does help me make better decisions. I might have to nip off just for a minute at some point. I'm waiting for a parcel to be picked up, so I may just run at some point, but I'll let you know. Yeah, so they're both almost looking, pretty similar now, but if you look at this, another reason maybe not to take short, I didn't notice. Perfect measured leg. Look at that. Perfect measured leg, and that was perfect, so that's another reason why we might not get a break. I never noticed that. I should have done, but I didn't. So that's another reason why upwards was a better option. Now, I didn't take that because the EMA is flat, but I would have settled for a high low, but unfortunately we didn't get it. It's just too late now, really. Too far from the EMA, too late, too close to that measured leg. Okay, excuse me just a second. Sorry about that. Oh shit! Well, there might have overdone it there. Let me have a look. So there we go. Oh, that's it. Not enough now. Let's go 15. There we go. That's better. Okay, so leg up, 2 legs back. Yeah. Yeah, see, there was a second entry long, but in all fairness, it's a little bit congested there. So that told me that there is a possibility it could come down, although it's looking more on the side of bullish. But that bar there was congested and EMA's flat, so that could come down as well. But as it pushed up, I just noticed then we'd made a perfect measured leg down right to the nail. So leg, which is why that just, turned and didn't come down for a new low. Okay, so I'm wondering if we're going sideways to this side, it'd be nice to get a drop out, a bounce, and then a push up. If we're looking at getting 2 legs on the NQ, that could certainly go a bit more. That could go up to this level here, so there is a possibility that looking like it's pushing up some more. Not sure about that. Let's see if we get something from Mac. Although I'm not got much more coming from Mac. I've had 2 years with him now with a 6-month break. No, nothing yet. Break out the bottom here would be nice and a bounce. Okay, we're literally a tick off hitting that measured leg. Bang on. Fact. Probably come down a fraction. Perfect there. Perfect there. Nice. Right on that. Bang on. Yeah, push up, break new high, 2 legs back. We needed a higher low here really above this. Take that. Yeah, you may have taken that. It depends. We sort of had a double bottom, really, didn't we? So, depending on how you look at this, we've only really touched that twice. Well, you could class as that. So maybe an overshoot. Maybe. The daily is looking like we're having another leg a push up, so I wouldn't be shocked if we get up to this level here, which is taking this way above. Push up, sideways, push up. We see that all the time, that sort of pattern. So, and not only that, we are making higher lows. That one's higher than that one, and that one, and same here. So there is a possibility that maybe there's something like that. It's a bit messy in all fairness, but I'm just not a fan at the moment. Okay, so if you consider that an overshoot, which I think I did, there could be a reversal. So we could come back, push, make a new high, and then drop, or we could just drop. just keep it in mind if you are interested in that. 1 day minimum 1 day to pass. Finishes tomorrow midnight tomorrow night. So it doesn't mean I read it a bit wrong. I thought it'll encourage people just to jump in. Maybe it will, but it helped me out. I'd done about 4 days instead of all 5 days and had a couple to go, so it just sped mine up a little bit. So it is there if you need it. 71% off and half price resets as well. My code's down there, UKFT in capitals. If you use it, or you have used it, it's appreciated. I am wondering whether they're just trialing this and whether they're going to go, take away the 7 days. It's interesting. Also, if you never saw the video, there was a video of Daryl talking when this offer came out about when he started. He traded with Lilu originally when he started, and he said he blew a massive amount of evaluations and PA accounts. So someone who's an experienced trader now and makes a really good living, just goes to show even some of the ones that are making a lot of money out there still went through the same thing as we did. So it's kind of nice to listen to stuff like that. It just gives you a little bit of hope. Okay, so I'd say that's probably going to come down. Well, I don't know, is it? It does seem like an overshoot to me. That touching, I consider that a touch, and that as well, and it fits nice to come to the same place. So, as I say, sometimes with these overshoots, they just come straight down. Other times they'll come down, push up, and then drop. Do you know something? Thinking about that, looking at that trade now, we pushed up and we came down and had one bounce. We had a second bounce. Actually, you could have called that a triple test. I think another, well, I mean, I kept out of it because my concern was we were going to have a break, although we did have a perfect measured move. Having said that, even sometimes when we do have a perfect measured move, sometimes we'll still continue to go down. So, yeah, what do you do? So, see, looking at the NQ, for me, that seems like it's still working in a channel, I think. So, I would think it likely that measured move plays out, but there is that area there where it could possibly bounce. But then the daily is giving me an indication that we are having another push up. So this may continue on. So I'm a bit on the fence here at the moment. So let's get that right. Okay, so I'm just keeping an eye on that. This, yeah, once it gets above here, we'll see. So if I'm rambling on a bit. But that does look like an overshoot, so we could come back. It's hard to say. See, if that NQ does, forget what the daily is doing, if it does bounce off here and come down, that would sort of coincide with this overshoot, push down, new high, drop. So it's hard to say. So just sort of sitting tight, really. There's always the possibility that actually I like that. We're actually touching better here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touches there with a little break there. So let's have a look at this. So possible overshoot, which may lead to a reversal. See, the trouble is, I mean, you could, some will be looking at this thinking, we got another channel here, leg and a leg, let's go long. And that may work. My slight issue with that is you've got hardly any space there to the tops, and we're clearly finding resistance up here. So, for me personally, it wouldn't be an ideal place to think about going long. If I'm going to go long, I'd rather it down here. But because looks like we've had that overshoot, now you could drag that out here a bit. And it may be true, but it just stops along there, and look at that, it's just finding resistance there. So that would, for me, would be more of an overshoot, more of an overshoot. So I'll be concerned about this coming down, which would probably keep me out of even a second entry long. Trouble is, even a failed second entry long, I'll be concerned about going short. EMA's facing up at the moment. NQ is looking like it could continue up. We've only been up here once before, so there is a possibility that this could continue up. I got mixed feelings, or it could, if it does have a break here, this comes back to the EMA. Perhaps a failure there may work back to here, but it's not something I really want to get into. Okay, that second entry long's triggered. Not something I'm interested in going long into all that. Excuse me, just a second. Sorry about that. Wife, can't ignore her. Okay, so it's a bit messy, isn't it now? Okay, so another reason I didn't go short there is the NQ is just not looking like it's ready to come down at the moment. We haven't hit that measured move. There is a little bit left to these highs. But the daily is just indicating to me that we may have a decent push up. So it's kept me out of anything like that. I mean, it does look like an overshoot, and in a lot of cases you'd expect it to come down. So some may even take that short, but it came down about a tick or two and turned. So I'm just going to sit tight here. I mean, there is a possibility if it does continue, I could open it up like that. Or it might be the fact that there's more of a channel there and a break and a new high. I'm just going to leave that like that a minute. So we've hit that measured move now perfectly twice. And we're close to these highs. So interesting to see what happens. I mean, we touched here, touched here. It looks like a channel to me. I mean, you could say that's the channel. We've had a break. A few pushes up to a new high, and now we're going to come down because it does look rangy. So, so this picture's, I don't know what's going on at the moment, whether we're going to come down or whether we're going to continue up. The daily is telling me we may go up. That's the daily. We had that sort of big push up, a little bit sideways. We often do that, as we know. We push up, we go a little bit sideways, drops a bit sideways, and then we have another leg, which would take us up to this level here. So that's looking likely. So I'm just sitting tight at the moment. I'm not thinking about going short yet. I'm not thinking about going long. Yeah, I'm just sitting tight. There's not really a channel sort of moving up, really. I mean, you're clutching at straws there, really. You know, you could say, yeah, it's sort of working up, but equally, it's just as messy and a bit, you know, a little bit unclear. So let's take that up now, and I can take that up to there. Perfect. 2 touches there, 2 touches there. So potentially the top of a range. So as we know, overshoots sometimes can do that. They can overshoot. They can have 2 up, make a new high, push up, make a new high, and then drop quickly. And as we know, we're at the top of this level here. We've made the measured move, so it is possible that this could come down as well. So I'm just sitting tight and sitting and watching. In fact, I'm just going to take a 5-minute break because I am dying of thirst here. So let's just let this sort itself out. I'm not going long, I'm not going short at the moment. I'm just letting it sort itself out because, you know, it is looking higher highs, but sort of higher lows. So it's a bit unclear at the moment. So 5 minutes, quick cup of tea, and I will be back. Okay, I'm back. Let's have a look. Okay, let's just move that up a bit. See what happens here. I need to be aware that I'm getting to the tops here as well, and the same on the NQ. So I sit tight at the moment because we're at the area where it could go up or it could come down. Trouble is, going along here at the moment, you haven't got much room to the highs, and we've already bounced twice off it, and we have there. So it's a bit dangerous, really. It could turn. Okay, lower high. So maybe we'll just put that back there. So just looking at Mac's chart, actually, he's got that like that, I think. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure why, but that type of thing, really. But yeah, see, Mac's got a break here. Bring Mac's chart in. Yeah, see, it got the same channel, but he's got a break here. He hasn't done it to the top, so I don't know why. I think it's more the measured move, but I mean, that's me personally anyway. But see, I do it from here and it touches here. It automatically touches here. If I put it to there, where that has a break as much as him, I'll be halfway down that bar. So sometimes these charts do differ, though. So why didn't it come down low? For me, more likely that we'd had two legs down, I think. Okay, so I'm not going long or short here because that may come down, but it might not. It might trigger and push up. The daily is indicating to me that it may push higher. So I'm just sitting tight at the moment. We're making higher lows, so you just don't know. However, there is an overshoot there, which sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, we know it'll come back, push up, have a new high, and then drop. At the moment, the NQ is coming down a little bit, but it could just be a first break from here. It could push higher. So I've got mixed feelings at the moment. So while I've got those, just no trades. Just sit tight. Let me just get rid of that. Sit tight. It may just have a couple of legs and push up, or it may come dropping down to here. I've got no idea, really. I wasn't prepared to take that because I got mixed feelings here, because as well, it is a little bit congested. So you just don't know what was the risk there. It's about 3.25 points. Yeah, my concerns is the daily looks like we could get another push up. So, and although it is rangy, it's definitely ranging. We do seem to be, the bottoms seem to be sort of progressively getting higher. Yeah, it's not the easiest day to trade today. There's no obvious trades that I can see. There was one where I would have taken. Let me have a look. Where was it? That's the one I considered the higher low, but the trouble is, as it's coming down, it's struggling to get above here, so you don't know whether it's going to come down, bounce up and touch again, and come down for another leg, which is why I didn't touch that. That one was an option. It was a second. We'd had a sort of a breakout of this new high, second entry long. Trouble is, this channel fitted quite nice, so there is a possibility we could come down. So I had mixed feelings about that. And not only that, the EMA is flat, and it is in that little bit of a range, a small range. However, it is at the bottom of the range, and I mean, you could say we'd had 1, 2, 3 touches, but sometimes it'll do that. It'll suck you in, it'll tick above it, come down, make a new low and stop you out. So for me, it was just, yeah, something I didn't feel comfortable with, so I stayed out of it. Now, there is a lower high there, and we've had a possible overshoot, which may result, obviously, as we know, sometimes it'll go up, make a new high, and then drop. But it's quite a big bar, that, and we've come down and close right on the bottom of that line. So that's just another reason that maybe maybe people aren't paying attention to the overshoot, or they're not interested in it, and maybe it is a bit bigger, and maybe we're going to trigger below it and rock it up, because the daily is giving me signals that we may be pushing up. So I can't really see anything. I was hoping we're going to get a higher low here. We didn't. There is a second entry long there, but it's more neutral than anything. And with the overshoot, do you want to go long there? Not really. It's a bit far from the EMA. So, see, we got that leg down there. One attempt to go high, second attempt to go higher, but that was such a big bar. And there's resistance here. So by the time that moved down, what was the risk? Well, it's about 3.5 points, I think, with a tick above, and we're already past these bottoms. So yeah, I don't know. I got mixed feelings. So there's nothing obvious for me that I would take. Now, that was obviously a possibility. That one just a bit too risky. So nothing really as yet. How long we've been trading for? A couple hours, maybe not. Just under a couple hours. That's how it goes, isn't it? Sometimes you get in there and get a trade really quick. So possible second entry short here. I prefer that a bit closer to that EMA for me to go short, really. I like the way it's triggered that, and it's struggling to push up. The thing is, if I'm looking at the NQ, we've had a first entry, but see how it's bounced 3 times right on that midline. There's clearly a resistance there. You can see it there. You can see it through there. So are we going to come down? Possibly, but not before we may have another go higher. So I'm staying out at the moment. So overshoot, 2 pushes up, new high, lower high. See, it could be a drop out of this. And I am aware that the daily could have another strong push up to this level here. So it's another reason that's keeping me out of shorts just at the moment. Looks like a repeat pattern from 9:15 a.m. today. Yeah. I mean, that's the type of trade would look nice if it pushed up and the body of it fell there, the top of the body, and it dropped. That would be a good indication. But, you know, the channel on the NQ, in my opinion, fits quite nice. And this is a break, and we've bounced 3 times off the midline. So, you know, whether that's random or not, who knows? But 3 times, you just don't know. I mean, yeah. It's looking like it may come down, but I have it in my head about the daily. Doesn't mean it's going to go up. But I think it's enough to keep me out of trades. Just at the moment. See, touch a few times, touch. Do I really want to go short there for it to trigger me and push up? Bar's naff anyway, really. It's not great. It's a doji, and it's, yeah, it's tight, yeah. Not interested. Yeah, it's not the easiest to read today. It is a bit bouncy, isn't it? We push sideways, push sideways, push sideways, push sideways, push sideways. So yeah, I have to say again, having the NQ in front of me definitely helps. Sometimes this is not clear, and sometimes having another chart with the same information but just laid out slightly different, I think is beneficial. I think a lot of people do trade that way. They do look at other indices, you know, whether it's the NQ, whether it, you know, whatever it is, just to sort of get a general feel of what, you know, what's happening in the markets. You know, it does help you make better decisions. I certainly feel like it's kept me out of a few trades. See if we come down and try to go higher a second time and that ends up bearish, then that will indicate we're maybe coming down for another leg. There's no trade anyway, really, at the moment. This is interesting. I think this is going to come down. It looks like it's sort of sucking longs in. And maybe not. It's all right. The NQ is just starting to look a bit bearish as well. Let's have a look. We got a channel down. We had a push-up break. Be interested to see if we can get a lower high. Yes, we may get another leg down, so it may just be coming off these tops. Now, we haven't got as high as I like, but we did play at that measured move, and we hit it 3 times, and we closed, and then we dropped quickly, so... one attempt to go, second attempt to go, so I think there is a chance we'll come down a bit more. It makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, we've been up here twice, we've been down here a few times, so... Clearly looking more rangy, that, isn't it? Leg and a leg. So if we do get a setup going short there's nothing at the moment here. But even a lower high might be a better option, we'll see. So that NQ is starting to look kind of bearish at the moment. Let's see where that bar finishes. Could turn, that's the thing with the NQ, it moves that quick. Bars can look bearish 1 minute and 2 or 3 seconds later can look bullish. I mean, it's turning now. So what I'd like to see is, I'm guessing after this, there may be a few traders gone long there, which is triggered and come down. So if it breaks below there, then I think there may be a good chance of a retest down here. But at the moment, There's no setup really, it's just a bit of sideways. Yeah, it's coming down a bit now. Let me see if it breaks that one bar on the NQ. Yeah, it has. So that to me now looks on the bearish side for another leg. I'd like to see a lower high there, but that's pretty bearish. Leg down, break, one attempt to go higher. So, yeah, it looks like it's had a push up, it's come down, it's had another push up and drop, but as I say, this moves that quick. Sometimes it can go from being right down low. I mean, that's pretty bearish, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're coming down. It could go up a bit sideways and up, who knows. So try and go once. Let me see. There is a. I think it's more bearish now. I'm certainly get a bearish feel for it. The NQ's looking like it's trying to push down some more. See if we can get a second entry long trapped and then a bearish bar and a failure. That would be nice. I'd be interested in a short there. Just check there's nothing larger here I'm missing. I don't think there is. Not sure. Just have to be careful here. I'd like to see one second entry long get trapped. So we've had a break. Interesting. So in the main, 1 minute the NQ moves fast. 1 minute the NQ looks sort of bearish. And then all of a sudden it triggers and starts pushing up. This can move really quick. So if that pushes up and takes out any possible stops or just breaks that high, then I could see that going higher. But then that's the thing. It moves that quick on this chart. And you got to be so careful not to get trapped. There is a possibility of something like that. I'm getting rid of it anyway because I don't want it to sort of cloud my decision. But there is a possibility. I don't like that. It's a bit choppy. It is on the NQ as well. NQ looks like it's about to drop. See, there is a failure there, but that's just not the type of trade I like to take. You can break 60s, should drop quick. Yeah, we're not far above it now, are we? Trouble is, it sometimes it does this. It gives you it gives you the feeling we're coming down, and then sometimes you get in, all of a sudden it reverses quick. Okay, that does look like there's a second entry lower high forming on the NQ. Trouble is, it's really close to the bottom. I don't like how far that's dropped away from the EMA. Okay, excuse me, just for 1 minute. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. touch. Yeah, it kind of sort of works. Overshoot here, 2 pushes up to a new high. It looks like it's starting to slowly trying to work down, but the trouble is when it's doing this really slowly, it can just turn quick. I'm not a fan in looking at trades when they're slowly working down, because a lot of the times they'll just turn. And the same with that NQ, it could just, and obviously it could act a lot. I mean, look at this. You know, you may take a trade there, you're in a trade there. We've had this channel down, break. We haven't made a new low, but we did make like a triple test off the midline. So it's sort of giving you the impression that we're slowly working down. But then all of a sudden it can just turn. And I mean, literally in a couple of seconds, that can go from here to up here. And there's a whole different picture there. So at the moment, it's a bit congested. It's a bit slow. I don't like it when it's slow. That makes me really nervous when it's slow, because it does give you the impression we're starting to loop down. So grab into a trade because we're going to drop. And then all of a sudden it turns. So it just sort of gives you that. It almost sort of sucks you in. It dangles a carrot in front of you, doesn't it? And then drops. I'm still looking at that. The daily. See, the daily. I mean, by the end of the day, we could be up here. We had a good strong push up, and then we had that sort of negative slightly on the sort of upside, and then we got this bar here, so it could really push up. I think it's lightly, so that might be why it's struggling to get down. But look on the NQ now, see. So if you got into any short there, you'd also be twitching like a good one now. That's what I mean. It can look really bearish 1 minute and then woof, that's about to break them highs there. Look, there we go. So if you did get into a trade there, you just got your arse handed on, you know, on a plate. So it just makes me nervous, that, because I just don't think we're finished with this upside at the moment. We've pushed down quickly. We've had a few attempts to go higher. Now we've actually made a new high. It's just short for me isn't an option at the moment. Nor is long just yet. I'm just going to bin that in a minute. So, you know, you may say, okay, forget the overshoot. This is just a break. We're going to make a new high. And maybe we are, or we're going to have this leg down. 2 attempts to go higher, and then we're going to drop again. So I've just got mixed feelings here. So it's enough to keep me out of a trade and just sit tight and just sort of watch and try and figure out what's going on. Let some of this messy stuff look at the lower trend line on the 10,000 tick. I haven't got the 10,000. Let me just change over to it on the okay. Yeah, 10,000 tick starting to look bullish, isn't it? That looks like a higher low, doesn't it? Just quickly, the 10,000 tick chart. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? 2 legs back. It does look like that's about to rocket up there, doesn't it? There's a higher low there. It's clearly, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. Leg up, a few legs back, another leg up. So that, you know, I think there's a opportunity there to possibly that, which takes us up there, which sort of coincides with it does, doesn't it? Leg up, a little bit of sideways, and then we're slowly working up, which sort of coincides with the daily, so that will keep you out of a short. See the and that sort of looks like a penguin trade, doesn't it? We've got a channel down, 2 attempts to go higher. If this fails and pushes through the EMA, I don't know. Who knows? It's enough to keep you out of a short anyway. That's what I mean. It's just not pushing down enough. Same with that. See, it does that slowly, and you're thinking, yeah, we're working down. Where can I get in? And your patience goes, and you jump in, and then all of a sudden it turns. So there's nothing, you get used to that, don't you? So there's nothing worse than when it starts to move slowly. I tend to go, woo, I don't like the feel of it. I'm just, staying out. So maybe this is just a break. If we can get a higher low here, then that may be an option. 10,000 tick chart is looking like, it's looking like it wants to push higher. It's about to break that bar. That one bar, it's done it. So we got leg, 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 leg. Yeah, it's sort of giving you that impression, isn't it? But the trouble is we've been up here twice before, so... but it's, it's a bit clearer this, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah, it's sort of working up, is it? If that continues on up, that would sort of make sense. Yeah, the NQ again is looking like it's going up. Let's see if we can get a higher low here. I'll tell you what would be nice. A bearish bar to trigger and push up. Trouble is we've still got this channel down. One attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, failure. Might be one of those days. This is where your patience plays a part. I don't seem to have a problem with patience now. I'm quite happy sat here. Whereas, going back a year or so, I was absolutely itching to take a trade. When I first put that first bit of money in, I think I took about 50 trades in a day. I nearly had bloody heart failure when I saw what the fees were. It's so easy. You just don't think about the fees when you start yourself. You put a bit of money in, especially when you're inexperienced. You just think about trade after trade after trade. That one looks like it's going down. Let's just sell. It's just almost like a slot machine. You put your money in, you press your button, and you keep your fingers crossed. So if we can have two legs down here, then... that fits a little better. Touch, touch, touch. Top, not bad. Close, touch, touch. So that's a possibility. I'm still not a massive fan of it at the moment. But it does look like we're pushing up. Trouble is, are we just retesting this area before we come down? Hate it when it moves slow. That makes me more nervous. It's like trading overnight, this is at the moment. There's not a huge amount. Well, there is actually. It's not too bad, the volume, but I just hate slow markets when it's like this. Sometimes when it's moving quick and it's flowing, it almost sort of points to the direction it's going in. Okay, so that's made a really perfect measured leg. Near enough anyway. Yeah, this really could go up or down. I'm just wondering how many penguin traders are looking for a short here. You got a channel leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, failure. It hasn't closed below the EMA, but that might be an option for a penguin trader to ride down to the bottom. I don't know whether that's enough of a decent channel to think about that. If there's any penguin guys in the room, is there? Or would you say we got a channel up, we got a break? One attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, failure, down we go. So I'm thinking about high or low maybe. So leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, failure. No penguin video post for 3. Has he been off that long, has he? Wow, he must have been poorly. I hope he's all right. I didn't realise he'd been... Well, I suppose we've had the Christmas break, but it doesn't sound like he's traded the first week or so, does he? Wow. Okay, so maybe channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. Maybe that's... Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's a penguin trade. So depends where you go short there. You probably maybe, I don't know, drop it here. What's is that? 30, it's only 13 ticks. You're out more or less before the lows, aren't you? Yeah, you're not really getting in, and that came down pretty quick. Yeah, you may have got in on a limit order there, but I think penguin likes to get out before the lows. So, a little bit of a range. Break out the bottom, break out the top, break out the bottom. What are we doing? Are we going up? I wait for a higher low here. Sometimes leg, you just get a bit of a flush and then off it rockets. But I don't think you'd have gone out there. Where did that... So, that would have to go there, wouldn't it? And that would go... Well, you probably only... If you dropped it in there... I think you'd be okay with that. It's not a massive risk, is it? It's only three points in a tick. That's nothing for penguin. I've seen him risk 5 or 6 points. That's only 3 in a tick. Excuse me. So channel up. One attempt to go lower. Second attempt to go lower. This may be it. One leg down. 2 legs up. 1 leg down. So it'd be a tick before the bottom of there, wouldn't it? 1 tick lower than where that bar is there. If that worked. It's quite a slow day today, actually, and it's pretty choppy as well. It's not very clear. Market is moving, but it's messy. There's no really nice channels. It's just a bouncing all over the place, isn't it, a bit? It might be a zero trade day today, which I got no problem with whatsoever. No, I did get an email from yesterday saying that he'd been ill. I think he's saying he felt better. Well, it wasn't personal, but it was just an email he sends out to everyone. So he did say he felt better. Interesting. 2 attempts to go lower. Maybe this is the push up we're looking for. I still like to think we're going to continue on up. I don't think there's any bigger channel there, is there? I don't think. Somebody mentioned possible channel from further down. Hard to say. I don't even like that, to be honest with you. It's more sideways than up. We still haven't broken the highs of the day yet, so it's a bit hard to say exactly what it's doing. I still get that feeling from the daily that we're going to have a push up. That's just giving me that signal. But that's just an educated guess, really. I can't react on that. I can't act on it, rather. Anyone know what's happened to Moo Moo? He hasn't. I haven't seen him trade since before Christmas. I think he traded on the 27th or 28th. But I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him since the new year. And you could call that a hidden second entry short, but I don't like what it's doing. It's swinging up, down, up, down. I just don't like what it's doing. I'm still feeling bullish at the moment. We've had this push and we tried multiple times to go lower and we couldn't. So I'm staying out of this at the moment. It's just got a lot of extra added risk. It's just clearly swinging above and below the EMA. So it's ranging at the moment, but it's not in a massive area. There's not a lot of volume from top to bottom. So, yeah, I mean, it's like 6 points. You know, you might go short there and it might... I just have this feeling at the moment we're slowly grinding up. Not sure about Momo. I do like to watch him even though I trade from 1 point. Yeah, I think that's the... Yeah, Momo... Oh, he's in Lebanon. He's got a race to attend to. A race? Interesting. What does he do? What does he do? A race. So, Sam, how you doing, bud? He's got a race. Interesting. So he's in Lebanon. I know he's from Lebanon, isn't he, originally? Interesting. What does he do? What does he do? A race doing what? Does anybody know? Yeah, Oh, he runs, does he? Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I wish he'd trade for more than the point, really. I think if you're not doing a runner and you're just trading for 1 point, I think you've got to get a real... Oh, he's an athlete, I got you. You've got to get a really high win rate to make money, I think, trading a point. Very fast runner. Cross country. Interesting. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day. Interesting. Is he compete at a high level? Does anybody know? Are we dealing with an Olympian here, are we? Or is it just sort of a keen thing? Runs. Interesting. He's a runner that does not use runners. Yeah, it is a shame. I see him sometimes and he'll win 3 trades and be up, sort of $50 a trade, and then he'll take 1 loss and it'll wipe them all out. I got to say, I found that heartbreaking. I remember once really working my ass off, patience, everything, and I won 4 trades in a row, $50 a trade, and I took a 4.25 point loss off a larger bar and it wiped them all out. It's heartbreaking, really. So, and that's trading at 80%, really. Win 4, lose 1. And at 80%, if I'm, still in the red, it's a bit heartbreaking, isn't it? Yeah, I wish he'd trade a bit. He may do, I get why people want to follow Mac. I get it. But what they've got to keep in mind is Mac uses runners, and Mac's an experienced trader, and he'll make most of his... I think his scalp is just his basic wage. His runners will give him his bonus, and we all know in the trading world the bonus is usually a lot more than your wage. So, fairly high level runner, better than 6 minute per mile, which is very good. 6 minutes per mile. So what's the world record? It's under 4 minutes, isn't it? But if you're cross country, 6 minutes... Well, yeah. I mean, everyone can leg it for a mile, can't they? But over cross country, you can't be doing, 4 minute miles. You'll never last more than a mile and a half, will you? That's good, though. So, 6 mile pace. So if you did 10 miles, 6 minute miles. So 10 miles will be 60 minutes, 20 miles will be 120 minutes. Yeah, it is. I mean, I think the sort of, the big runners in the marathons, 26 miles, do the, what do they do in 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 20. So yeah, 6 minute miles, quick. All right, mate. Like the video, people. This is hard going, isn't it? Used to do 7-minute mile. I can do it in 3 minutes in my car on a motorway. I've never really been a runner. I used to run. I think most people go for a phase of it, don't they, when I was a bit younger. I did a little bit of time in the reserves in the military. So I run obviously then, but I haven't done anything for a few years. I did karate for 17 years, so I had surgery on one of my knees. Too many years kicking fresh air. So I had a bit of cartilage, so that sort of knackered my running days. A bit of cartilage taken out of my left knee. Excuse me just for 1 minute. Not a lot you can do here, really. I mean, you could try picking a bottom and a top, but I've never been a fan of those, to be fair. I mean, it does look like there's 2 legs on there, but just I have this feeling about we're struggling to get lower, so I just think I'm concerned when we go at the upside, so it's getting me out of trades like that. There was a little channel down there, and then just a bullish-ish bar. Same again, not really interested, so there's nothing you can really do. It's not an easy day today, in all fairness. It's not been too bad lately. There's been some better days. We've had some nice moves like this. You know, it's pretty clear, moving quite smooth. Same again. I mean, that was a massive move, that was. There has been some nice, big, fluent moves. Quite a few, actually. We haven't had any really side. There's a bit of a sideways day there, but it's been really not bad at all trading lately. But today, well, the latter part of yesterday, it's more rangy, really, isn't it? It's up and down, but it's quite choppy. It's just swinging in these little tight areas. So it's not the easiest of days, but we can't have it every day. Can't have it easy every day, can we? So it may be a blank today, which I've got no problem with. In all fairness, it's not often I don't do anything in a day. And it's very slow, isn't it? There is volume. Not a huge amount, not as much as normal, but I suppose when it is going sideways, not as many trade. Most people sit out. Obviously, that's going to take the volume down to a degree. Usually, by the time I finish now, sometimes I struggle to get my chart on there and see it clearly. I mean, it's very clear. does look like we may be starting to work up. We've bounced off this area once, twice, 3, 4 times, so it does look like we may start to get a push. If we can get above there, this level here, we may get a little bit of a push. It does look like it's trying to. And I suppose the next area then, you can clearly see there's a bit of resistance there. The next area is up here, so whether it does break, it can continue on higher. Like the daily is sort of slowly giving us a light hint that it is. If that breaks above there, then we may get a chance at pushing up. It's not far off, actually. But we've hit a few times. We've tried to go lower quite a few times there, and we've struggled every time. Mind you, we seem to be hitting a wall up here as well. Time's okay. I'm going to do another 15 minutes and I'm going to knock on the head. 2:45. I'll go up to 3 hours. I tend to like 3 hours. This is boring the arse off me, this is, in all fairness. Go on, push up. Push. And Q's having another crack at the tops. Come on, picket. If we can get above here, then we got a chance of reaching up to these then, but we seem to have struggled so far. 1, 2, 3, let's have a look. Where we go? There we go, we finally got above that. Now let's see where it goes. Yeah, it was finding a little bit of resistance there. You can see it a few times. I did wonder whether he was going to hit it 3 times and then have a drop, but you know, sometimes I'll finish about now and I'll come back later off. I'll look at what Mac's done or other, and I'll see a massive, like 40, 50 point move after I go. I tend to forget that I finish around about 5:30 UK time, which is normally end of working time, but I forget it's still only 12:30 on the East Coast. So, you know, it's only really the middle of the day. It's sort of, you know, late morning, early afternoon, isn't it? So I tend to forget sometimes you get good trades, but I don't know how long you guys usually trade, but I think 3 hours usually is enough to get a trade, a trade or two. Most of the time I do, but obviously it's fast moving stuff, requires a lot of concentration, can be quite stressful. So I remember when I was learning to trade, I heard stories about prepared to work 11, 12 hours a day sat in front of a screen. It couldn't be further from the truth. this is probably, well, I wouldn't say the easiest job I've had, but certainly when it comes to the amount of time you sit at a job, this is certainly the quickest job I've ever had. Obviously, it's taken a lot to get you, but working 3 hours a day, I probably do about another 30 minutes of study time a day. I usually look at Mac's chart, I compare it to mine, I usually look at a couple of others on the Facebook group, see what they did, what I missed, did I do something they didn't, and so on. In fact, the trade I did take yesterday, not anybody else took, but Mac marked it actually, so I certainly get value. So I suppose with my bit of study time, my maximum day, anything to do with trading, is about 4 hours now. I do have a cut-off now. I do other stuff now. I had to get a hobby because I just, my whole life was obsessed with trading. It still is to a degree, but it's always at the forefront of my mind before anything else. So you too, yeah. It's sort of, I haven't felt bad about it. You started e-commerce website. Oh, have you really? There's a Scottish guy I follow. He does that. He's a crypto guy, and he does that e-commerce stuff. Sells stuff on. I think he sells on. Can we sell in the UK? Make sure you buy something. I will do. I did look maybe 5 or 6 years ago into Amazon FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, where you buy stuff, I don't know, wherever you buy stuff, a lot of stuff comes from China now, doesn't it? You buy certain things from overseas, it gets shipped directly to Amazon, and Amazon sort of deliver it for you, package it up, and obviously you make a certain amount of money, but there's certainly money in that. Obviously, if you can buy something, that people are, but in fact, a lot of the times they don't necessarily even go from Amazon now, they just ship directly from the warehouse, but it's obviously finding something that sells, because obviously there's a lot of people doing it. It's about managing your margin, really. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to take everything into consideration. But I dare say there's people that make an absolute fortune doing it. I mean, we all know Amazon's about the biggest business in the world, and they're only going to get bigger. I don't know anybody who doesn't use Amazon for more or less everything nowadays. Christ, we got our last washing machine from Amazon. We got the coffee maker from Amazon. We got our last dryer from Amazon. We got our fridge freezer from Amazon. Everything comes from Amazon now. Everything for Christmas. And it's ideal. You sort of go online today, buy it, gets delivered tomorrow. There's never an issue sending anything back if something's not right. They never quibble it. I bought a Makita drill about 2 years ago, and I paid about £150 for this drill. It was an impact driver, actually, a Makita impact driver. I don't know if you guys in the US know it, but it's same sort of line as your Milwaukee sort of stuff. And I paid £150 for this. It was supposed to come with a 5 milliamp hour battery, and it only had a 4 milliamp hour battery. So I contacted Amazon. They said just send the battery back. No, they said send the whole thing back. And I said, well, can't you just swap the battery? And they went, no. You try finding a courier that will accept a battery. You have to go through an evaluation period to make sure you can package it all properly. So I could not find a way to send this battery. So I contacted Amazon. They said, okay, we'll refund you the whole £150. Just dispose of the drill and the battery. So I ended up getting a £150 drill and battery for free. They quite often do that. If something's not right, they'll just say, "I'll bin it, and we'll give you the money back." And he obviously makes a lot of money at it. So they're sort of taking over the world, really, Amazon, haven't they? But yeah, any type of business. We did see some eBay for a while. I remember during lockdown, we sort of had a big clear out. And we'd never sold anything on eBay before, and I think we made about £1,200 just selling junk around the house, stuff that we don't use anymore, old bits of tools or clothes and stuff like that. So I tell you what, if you've got something to sell, there's always someone to buy it. So this now does look like we're starting to worm our way up. Doesn't it? At the moment, now, there's always a possibility it may just come retest and then drop like a stone, but we've had a push down, made a couple of legs back, and now we're pushing up. See, a trade like that is the type of trade I'd be interested in. That one might be a bit too far from the EMA, but that type of thing, it does look like it's working high, so if we can get above this, then we may get that push that's been looking likely. So I'm just going to leave that on my eye line a minute, just so so touch, maybe that, or maybe just this. I would prefer that, actually. So this looks like it's itching to go higher. There may have been some shorts there, 2 legs up, sort of a second entry short trigger. Looks like it's going to push up. If we can get above this, then I can see a decent push up. Still get this feeling with what I'm seeing there. Push up, we did come back. We finished just sort of around about here, crossed over, came back, and it does look like we're going to get a push up. So after all this sideways, if we can get above here, I can see having a you know, a quite strong move. It's certainly looking feasible. Whether it'll do it is another thing, but this is indicating it's slowly trying to grind higher, and this is as well. Now, looking at this, we're going sideways, we've been going sideways, but we have made higher lows, not so much highs, but we had that channel with a bit of an overshoot. We made a bunch of attempts to go lower, and we haven't, so we are slowly grinding up. I'm still not ready to go long yet. I want it to go above here and retest and start to move before I'm interested. So I'm going to sit tight a little longer. My wife's not home yet, so I might just trade till she comes home. I'll say. Be ashamed to have a big move and not to get at least get a trade out of it. Sometimes you put up with all the shit, and if you can manage to stay patient, then you usually get your reward. So it'd be a shame to come back and realise we've pushed up 20 points, and I haven't at least had the possibility of a trade. Trouble is, I know if you buy stuff, because I built a drone a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. I bought like a frame and some motors and some other bits and pieces and some wiring from the Far East, and I got stung for import tax and duty. So the trouble is, that's the thing if we're ordering from the UK. I know if we order from the US, we get stung VAT, import tax, and sometimes it can just make it just not worth buying. I know a lot of you US guys get stuff so much cheaper. I bought a Vitamix about 5 years ago, cost me nearly £500. I think you can get them for half that price in the US. I mean, they're obviously US made, but it's just not worth buying stuff direct from the US, because it's the import tax, and I think the same from China. If you buy it, if it's under about £30 or $30, I think you're okay, but anything more, so if you're buying packages of stuff, you know, lump sums, I don't know how it all works, so I don't know what sort of trade agreement you US guys have got with the Far East, but it's not great in the UK. I mean, when we came out of the EU, there was rumours that we may get a trade deal with the US, but I believe these things take years to sort of fine-tune. But it would be nice to get something. you guys in the US just seem to have way more stuff than we do in the UK. You're first at everything. You know, some of the stuff that I look at here I'd like to buy, you just can't get in this country. But you guys have got mountains of the stuff, so it'd be nice to get a trade deal, but I fear it's going to take flipping years. I mean, we've been out of Brexit now for about, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, 4 years. And nothing as yet. Okay, I'm ditching it actually. This is boring me now. I hate it when it goes that slow like this. It could just take another half an hour and do nothing. I've done me 3 hours anyway, literally. And it's going slow. I thought it was going to work a bit higher. I'd have a go, but I don't know. It just looks like it may just be going up, down, up, down. No, I'm never in a rush to take a trade. Not anymore. I've given up trying to rush, getting too excited and just jumping in. You get fed up with doing that after a while. There's nothing worse than just jumping in a trade knowing you probably shouldn't have done. So that is it for today, folks. I am done. Hard market to trade today. It is moving, but it's very choppy and a bit unclear at times. But it does look like it's trying to push up. But I've done me 3 hours. I've had enough. It's slow. It's really slow. I mean, what time is it now? In the last 30 minutes, let's have a look. 1500. From there to there, it's taken half an hour. So we got what? So realistically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 11 bars in 30 minutes. No, it's just too slow for me at the moment. It's probably going to go up. So there you go. That's it for today, folks. I appreciate all your comments. I hope you got a bit of green today. Your chart may have looked slightly different than mine, but to be fair, a bit choppy, a bit unclear, sideways with a slightly upward bottom, but who knows. So that's it for today. I'll be back Thursday tomorrow, so 2 more days. So have a great evening, stay safe, and I will see you all again same time tomorrow. Bye for now.